So basically, what I'm doing today, well, maybe not all today, but on the video it might look like it's all today, but it's not going to be. I have these pine 4x4, they're 4x4, rough 4x4 cans. And so I'm going to cut these all 3/4 inch. Well, the last one will be an inch because that's the way the saw cuts. I should be able to cut 3 at a time. But I need the ceiling boards for ceiling for in my house. So I'm making my own board. So a lot of them are already done, and so they're 4 inches wide. They're a little bit less than that after I get them on. They're planed, and they're shiplapped, and they're beveled, and then they're painted. Oh, well, some of them are not painted, but some of them are. So anyway, it's getting late in September here now, and I got to get the ceiling done, and I got to get this done. This is dry. This was covered by this piece of sheet metal I just moved. So these are going to, you'll see a time lapse here after this. And but so basically, I'll grab this one. Let me just grab that one hand. Okay, there we go. And so basically, I'm going to take 2 or 3 of these at a time, probably 3. And I'm going to bring them over to the sawmill. And I'm going to line them up on here. And we're going to cut out the rust. Now, when these are planed, they're 5/8 inch thick. So I cut them to 3/4, and I need a nice smooth finish. So kind of give myself a bit of space so I can, and I mean, this is pine, so I can take a pretty deep cut on my planer. So we'll plane these down. The last ones I got to plane a little bit more than I like anyway because they're 1 inch. And a lot of times I'll use a 1 inch board for something else, but in this case, they're all going to the ceiling boards. I need them. So I'm going to bring over a couple of more. We'll turn the time lapse on. You'll see me saw it, and then I guess you'll see another intro and a time lapse to the planing and the shiplapping and the bevel and the install. So I don't know if I'll make this all in one video or several. Probably one long video and several short ones because a lot of guys don't want to see. I notice in the algorithms that if the video is too long, they just don't watch it all. So we'll try and break it up for you guys. So, you know, for all the attention deficit guys out there like myself. So anyway, let's get started. Now you'll notice a little bit of gumminess on the blade. I ran out of water. This is pine. It's a year old and still it's sticky. The I only had this last little bit to cut, so I didn't bother putting water in it, but that's what happens after just a, oh sorry, here we go. So after just a short period of time with no water, it gums up the wheels. Pine and spruce in particular, I find in this area, this neck of the woods, are particularly bad for it. The hardwoods, even the deciduous, like the coniferous hardwoods like tamarack or juniper, whatever you want to call it, different things like that aren't as bad. For the fir trees, the spruce trees, and the pine cause havoc. So I'll show you a trick to that here in a second. Probably make a short of it. I use a razor blade. But this is why you need soapy water here and it's coming up pretty soon, soapy antifreeze, because it'll be too cold. So there's oh, what is it? There's 12. What did I cut? 12, so that's 48 pieces. And even filming, that only took about, now I mean, they were already cans. And you see I got a lot of offcuts. And I cut them 4 inches true because I need them 3.5 by 5/8. And so they're 3/4, except the bottom one's an inch, right? Always an inch. I can't cut lower than an inch without a lot of tedious bullshit. Now with pine, I can plane it down real easy. It's a soft, but the I might as well just turn off this time lapse just a second. So the as you can see here on the edge, you can see 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 1 inch, and now they'll all be 5/8 when I put them through the planer, and they'll be shiplaped and they'll be smooth and pretty. I hope. So I cut them true 4 and let them air dry, and these are pretty dry. I mean, I'll put a moisture meter on after so you guys can see it. I'd say they're below 10. So it's plenty dry for what I need them for. And but the when you air drying these cants, they twist like a Twizzler, like a licorice. And so I need them 3.5. So that's what these offcuts are. Making them square again instead of, like that twisted shape, down to, a lot of guys who cut lumber, cut cants and let them dry for a couple of days, they know what I mean. It, starts to take on the characteristics of a Twizzler licorice. So you gotta square that off, and that's why there's a piece here and no real piece comes off here. They get a little wavy. I mean, when I cut them, they were true square, or they weren't the pyramids, but they were close. And so now they're nowhere near where I cut them, and that that's common. So I leave them big enough that I can trim them and still get the size I need, and now they're square again. Because this edge is not going to run through a table saw before it goes on the ceiling. You're not going to see the edge anyway, and if it is out slightly, I don't care. It's I'm not going for the modern brass and glass look. It's a rustic cabin, but it'll be close. So anyway, that's what we're doing with that. So they're all cut. That's 12, 12, 12, 12, 48. So 48 should be plenty to do what I'm trying to finish up, I hope anyway. Because I have no more dry spruce, pine. I have lots of spruce, but the spruce just doesn't plane on my planer as smooth and as nice a finish as the pine does. In certain parts where there's a knot, you'll get a feathered look. I mean, maybe a really fast planer, really sharp blades, but apparently I don't have sharp enough or fast enough. So that's what we're doing. So next part of this video, you'll see there's another. So next, here they'll look. I guess they'll look smoother if I more square if I take off the trimmings. So next part of this, you'll see them going through the planer. Probably on the time lapse because I'm sure you guys don't want to see too much of that. And so I'll plane them to the proper thickness. Then I'll router the edges for the shiplap. And I could do tongue and groove, but I've had so much trouble with the tongue split, either the tongue splitting out or one side of the groove splitting out, usually the side that's going to be exposed, because if I have a piece like this here, I'm going to hide this side and have where I have the flat wood exposed. So if I chip out this side on the groove side, then I have that's not a big deal to me, but it is annoying. So and that's why I'm doing all shiplap, because if I do make a mistake routering, or the bit chips out a piece more than I want or whatever, you really can't see it. I can easily hide it. Whereas with the tongue and groove, it became harder to do and more tedious to make and took longer. And and there really wasn't any need for it. And I seal all the shiplaps on the ceiling with latex anyway, whether it's tongue and groove or shiplap. And the latex is dirt cheap, so. And so anyway, but I'll show you that process after. It's just the way I'm doing it. I'm sure somebody has a different way. But yeah, so next thing you'll see these will be going through the planer, hopefully at a high rate of speed. That's the good thing about the pine. It's very easy to work with in shape. Okay, we'll see you again soon. Cheers.